Okay, looks like we're gathering again for
Okay, we're gathering.
woof. Let me rename Alex here. Oh,
Sharon, I'm sorry. Did you say what how Angelique is?
oh, Angelique. I can tell you how Angelique is. Yes, um, she's doing well. You know, her mother passed, and last Thursday that's when they had the cremation. She had de- suggested that the family have two different ceremonies. One, a ceremony that the grandchildren kind of were in charge of because their way of looking at life is quite a bit different than Angelique's. And then they could have their ceremony, which Angelique would participate in, but their way. And then she would do a ceremony with her mom in the way that she does with her spiritual and ritual, etc. And they wouldn't have to participate in that. And I think that's what she decided to do. And then she is now kind of took some time out, her and her partner, to just refresh out in nature. She sent me a few photos of that. And I think what I'll do, because I think it will be okay with her, I'll check. I'll send you a couple of the pictures that she sent to me, of her mom and the flower ceremony, and then where she's spending the last few days. So I haven't spoken to her directly yet, but that's kind of, she's in that process.
Thank
Thanks
you. Thank you.
for asking, Emma. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share a screen here in the, what did thing, why are we talking about the galactic world and the history and all the stuff that happened there, is because it gives us enough knowledge and understanding that we can do something different in this world. Not knowing about the constructs, the contracts, the injury, the trauma that was still being held in our collective families in those galactic worlds kept us tied to their trauma. So we're down here, we're individualized, we know we're star beings, we know we're spiritual beings in a physical experience. But until we were able to understand that and heal literally the trauma, the contracts, etc., in those galactic worlds, they were still feeding us those contracts, those limits, etc. So therefore, understanding the galactic world. So I'm going to just take out a little journey here, talking about the female woundedness. So here in this present moment, and here's just a few: domestic violence, rape culture, war culture. I mean, we raise these lovely, lovely children, and what do? They get put into the war machine that teaches them to be robots, basically, and kill anybody that's not like them. They take our children. The legislation that takes away our rights. The only way I could, in a short little text box, say it is the handmaiden mentality, supporting the men who are the dictators. That's our role, and that's, I guess, part of that service thing, disconnecting that handmaiden mentality, the witch hunts that went on and are still going on in cultures around the world, the distrust of females for each other, the distrust amongst us, the financial lack that females have been locked into. I mean, those are just a small segment of what we are experiencing when we are in a female bodysuit, and then, of course, beyond that. So then we go back and look at at a timeline. Religious domination, definitely a big part of discrediting females. As I go back in time with my clients, finding those circles where the women literally hid their gifts in the forest, and they walked away with contracts with one another to keep each other small. If you start to shine too brightly, I will pull you down because that's the only way you can be safe, your family can be safe, and I can be safe. Contracts, the ownership insertion that the outsiders owned our bodies. That was an insertion. It wasn't in there originally, it was an insertion. The insertion that we, and these are things I have found as I've worked with clients, so I didn't make them up. The stories were shown to me. So the time of inserting elitism. You are special. You are so special. You can be the king and the queen. And then what happens is then we were used in those models to serve and keep everybody else serving the dominators, thinking that we were somehow special. Creating the harem systems. The favorite is put at the head of the table. Her children are favored, but if a new favorite comes along, that woman and her children could be on the streets fighting with one another to please the man, to make sure that we were making that man happy. It was last week we talked about and did just a little story about that very ancient circle where, and that probably close, maybe in the 200,000 years ago time frame, where the women each took one of the gifts, took it within her family, became the family's lineage, the family's heritage. Nobody could touch it, made it innocuous because they didn't know how else to protect the gifts. And I think that shows up in cultural appropriation mentality because we had to keep them safe and keep everybody else away from them. And healing that, saying, hey, we are giving you the voice of authority so that the gifts can be brought together. Women can shine and use them in what big measure, because we will also stand together and say domination energy, control energy, greed energy will not exist. The insertion with a bodysuit that was made to multiply and replenish was not part of the original. We wanted to get that outsiders gone and not bring a whole bunch of children into that outsider mentality. But by inserting this multiply and replenish was a way for the outsiders to increase the amount of slaves they had and then to own the children. It's a ugly deal. Of course, the crushing of that authority voice shows up in the myth of the Garden of Eden. But where did it begin? Way in the galactic worlds, that broadcasting of you're not enough. But if you don't know this and you don't know how to reach it, or even know you need to reach it, we keep down here in the symptoms of it. And sometimes we get a little bit free and then we don't get a little bit free. And that's not where we want to be. We want to be free, clear, supportive, collaborative, shining our light, filling each other with love, so that's what the world will become. So this is kind of what we've got going on the planet, because the law of manifestation is law here, so that we can be aware of these various configurations, constellations. Does that sound familiar, Arlie? Constellations. Here's the seed, here's the broadcasting, here's the seed, here's the broadcasting. And all of this is the galactic worlds. Look at this iceberg. It's always more underground, hidden, than is above ground. And as long as they were not removed, they would keep after. Here's we're birthing into this lifetime, and the little baby looks like, oh my gosh, what a sweet little guy, what a sweet little girl, and they're just gentle, and all of a sudden things start happening. They start having memories. They're not memories, but they start acting out, or they start being panicked about things, and they start seeing monsters. All this stuff that starts manifesting And if you don't understand energy and you don't understand the galactic world, you do the best you can. But what happens is as we go further and further into life, we get triggered. So here's the trigger. And it's coming from here somewhere. See the thread is coming from somewhere, but all we see is the tip of the iceberg. And so if we change our mind, we're going to do an affirmation that helps for a little bit, or we do a Reiki session and that helps a little bit. But you're in repeating patterns, repeating cycles of pain because it doesn't get the iceberg under the ground. So that's why for me, that's why I'm sharing what I know so that we can stop this pattern, not just within individuals, but for those of us who work with groups, we can stop it within groups. So then we go to, let me get this out. In putting this up here. So what I'm looking at as someone who's been doing energy work for a long time, and those of you who in a similar boat probably will totally understand. So here is the center of your life. And your life is an extension or a circle out from that. Whoops, circle. And let's say that you've got something going on in your life that you want to change. And where you start, for me, the starting is always in energy. That it begins in energy, it changes in energy. So you put a new story in place, and we use a reality statement. You could use a poem, you could use a song, you could use an affirmation. And this new energy kernel, this new energy seed becomes like the North Star. That's the outcome for your new plan. Well, you're not just a spiritual being. You have a spiritual body region, you have an emotional body region, you have a mental body region, and you have a physical body region. And if you want to collapse the time that it takes for this seed to manifest, then you put together what I call an integrated program. What do you know that is a tool from your toolbox Cindy talked of? What tool do you know that will impact your emotional body first? And you make a list of those. What do you know that will impact your physical body first? And you make a list of those. And the same with what will impact the spiritual body, what will impact the mental body. And then you put a program together that this week I am going to do these spiritual tools. I'm going to do that emotional process. I'm going to do this mental technique, and I'm going to do this change in the physical. And then I'm going to do it. You set your alarm. If you're dealing with something really serious, you'd set your alarm. You wouldn't hope to remember. You set your alarm. I'm going to do this and on this hour and day, and then I'm going to do this on this hour and day, and this, and you put your program into an actualization process, a program. And then the next week you do the same. And then the next week you do the same. And what you're doing is you are collapsing the time it takes for this to manifest. If you only do spiritual, will that be effective? Yes, but it's going to take a little while for the spiritual to come down and eventually impact the physical. So why not take the goal, put it in place with your spiritual techniques, take the same goal, put it in place with your physical techniques, same with emotional and same with mental. It collapses the time it takes. So the value of listening to what we are sharing with each other these next few weeks is that we're beginning to understand. Did you know that the Lavender Joy knew that much about essential oils? I didn't. I knew the tip of the iceberg. I knew Cinda knew a lot about rituals and have experienced that with her, but now she's ready to share that. And Tara is putting together a program in her way. We know we can add our friends' tools to our awareness of where we could what we could use as we put together a program. So for me, because in the last 2 months, I'm dealing with people who are facing death by choice of their birth plan. I've gone through that. So had been in my birth plan to end my life, not by suicide, but just by dying, I think 6 years ago. And so when I was made aware of that, then I could go like I went, oh, can I change? I'm not ready to leave yet. Can I change my mind? They said, you can. My team said, yes, you can. But you're gonna have to work at it. You're gonna have to end the birth plan idea, put in an entire new program, put in contracts, put in ideas. It's not an automatic. You can do it. So when I have had these people come and I've checked into what's going on for them in their deterioration, they're saying it's their end of life. I'm having to say to my clients, this is a time for you to choose. Are you finished? Are you ready to leave? And if they're not, I have to do an integrated plan with them because they may not have the time for only spiritual work to get the job done. So this is what I do. We put together reality statements because that's the core. That is the core energy. And then all of the applications, all of these are complementary to that core. Now, for some, they're dealing with cancer possibility. So in their application, they very well may be choosing or being given the option of surgery or chemotherapy or radiation. That's part of the application. They are complementary, but the outcome is what we are claiming here. So what we are doing together is really important. I've had clients in the past that said, I've tried this tool and it didn't work, and I tried that and it didn't work, and it tried this and it didn't work. And I'm here to tell you that every good intention, every good process works. Do not ever let yourself discount a good process, because this is not a magic key program. We aren't here with one magic key that's going to turn the key and you're going to be great. No, you're going to need various tools, and every tool works. So if you're comfortable changing your diet, start there. It will begin to make a difference. But when you hold the energy that my life is full and vibrant and long lasting, whatever it is, it begins to open the doors that you didn't have open before, so that you may find that you have tools that you didn't even know were there that now are available to you, because you've changed the inner core, your outcome. Someone posted today something about, it's going to get really bad, and who can help me do survival. Oh my gosh, took me back to the 90s. And I said, you know what, maybe what we're doing is being called, because she's saying, I'm really being drawn to gardening, and I'm really being, because I think we need to survive. And I said, maybe we're being drawn back to minimalist, to focused, to choice, to nature, because it is the way, not because we're going to have to survive this catastrophe. What if it is just us being called back to a way of life that we've let go of, and our only mentality drive is, oh, because if I don't do this, I'll die. Maybe we are just being called back to what is good, natural, and organic. We talked, I want to just mention the law of reciprocity, because the law of reciprocity is a lot of of course, I teach in that in the career curriculum and in the tag, well, I'll be talking about in the tag curriculum. The law of reciprocity is the law for our support. It is part of how we planned to be supported. And it has been left out. The law of manifestation is different. The law of reciprocity says our currency, our wealth is energy. It's energy. And if you have an abundance of energy, you can form it any way you want to form it. You can sleep. You can sit on, over the side, on the side worrying. You can use that energy any way you want, but it is your abundance. It is your bank account. And every time you take some of that energy, create a form, whether it's a blessing or a prayer or a ritual or an organic oil, whatever, you form it because you love that idea, and you form it and you put that good into the world. Even, the good that Cinda did, the good that Lavender Joy did today, tonight, they ought to be in bed and say, I did one good in the world. I'm turning it over to the greater, and I am sitting in stillness to say, good job. And then I am opening the door to unlimited energy to says, replace that with 10. Here's a gallon gone, 10 gallon comes in of energy, waiting for you in your reservoir. I have a lake. I like the lake better than the reservoir. In your lake, your reservoir, ready for when you get the next idea. And then you can take the law of manifestation, the law of reciprocity. The ideas are what is intended to bring us our support. And we've been told not to charge for our ideas. Who in the HEQQ told us that we couldn't charge for the very thing that we were intended to be supported by? Of course. The other thing I want to say too is if there's an idea that's delightful for you in your mind, someone is praying for that form. They are praying for that form. So we are in this whole weaving, this whole configuration. And I know on my, when I put together this integrated program, because that's what I'm doing for the clients who really are dealing with hard stuff. And they may not even know the tools. I am putting in this, do this, do this, do this. Check with Emma for EFT. I will be having available check with Cinda. I will be having check with Lavender Joy, so that when I use my intuition to say, what is the protocol, the program for that this person I suggest for this person, it will include connections to those of you who have something that person may need, another way of connecting. So, what we're doing isn't minor, and it's pretty fun in also. So that's why I'm looking forward to hearing from as many of you as want to, just what it is you're loving, what you're excited about, who you are, what got you to that point, and I'm glad we're including that in our journey. So anything you'd like to say before we close our circle? And I'm just opening up the floor, popcorn style.
So Sharon, I like how you just brushed over so smoothly and easily the fact that you changed your life contract and that you shouldn't be with us here now, that you have in fact changed your life contract and are alive because of it. And I think that was 4 years ago. I mean, it's like, therefore, what you speak of is true, is accurate, and you are living proof of it. I just wanted to validate that for anyone who doesn't know, because it's extraordinary.
Thanks, Cinda.
Sharon, I have a question. Can you hear me?
We can, Alexandra. You got it nailed.
Okay. Um, I've been studying with you for 2 years, and I have a broad understanding of the outsiders and stuff. I have been going through something I have never experienced in my entire life, and that is just feeling like everything I do is wrong, and I make stupid decisions that create a lot of trauma in my life, etc. Are there times when we are actually psychically attacked by outsiders or outside forces? I'm just trying to get a handle on why I can't break this.
I hear you, Alexandra. I'll probably talk to her independently, but I'll let you guys know that because of the work that so many are doing, and Alexandra's still talking, she doesn't know. Alexandra, you don't know that we can't hear you because you got knocked off, but I'll check with her. The deeper we heal, the more we are shown until it's gone, and there was a major change galactically by the councils, not one council, the councils in the galactic world that came together in November 2019, which hasn't been that long ago, decreed outsider agendas, domination agendas could not be chosen. We knew that, but they can't even be chosen anywhere in the galaxy, Laniakea, nowhere. But as of a month or so ago, they opened up what is happening, what is being held in the outsiders' worlds, which are negative regions that we weren't even able to see before because they were blocked from us because they're not ours. And so there are things that are we're able to get and free, that we've never even known existed before. So I'm going to talk to Alex. I'm going to talk to you personally. Would you check with me personally? Because in TAG, we also, I evaluate. We need to, and so this is not an easy question, but there is a very concrete answer. But it's, we don't have one cause. And Alex has been doing lots of good work, and it would be to evaluate where she's at now and then focus what is left and where it is. And Alex, let's talk offline, because I know you didn't hear most of that. Okay.
No, my phone went out and I had to call you again.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. So so give me a call. Okay.
Okay.
Or email,
okay.
Whichever. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You bet. So here we are on a journey. Not only are we're really being able to bring forth what we want to do in a greater way. We have the authority voice to keep ourselves protected. And by gosh, we got roots that are growing together so that we're holding hands with each other. This is the time like never before on this planet. And so in the galactic work, in the TAG work, this is the integrated understanding is how we would apply and work with that collaborativeness. Okay, anything else? Okay, next week we have a full house. I'll tell you that. I won't tell you who's going to be on board, but we'll be a full house. Okay. And love you a lot. Oh, looky. Deborah's got pups there.
The rule is, Deborah, that you have to introduce us to your dog so that they can be included in the conversation.
This is Finn.
Oh, Finn.
The people who found him in the Harris Teeter, the grocery store parking lot, named him Finn after the escaped stormtrooper in Star Wars. And we figured Finn Mullen was a great name. So
Finn Mullen is good.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Cinda and Lavender Joy.
Yes, thank you for anointing us with that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anointing us with oil and information.
Oh, yeah, it was wonderful.
Tons of information.
And Cinda and Lavender Joy, if you want to also put whatever contact information into Slack, it holds it a little bit more quickly, I think, than if going to the website. But okay, whatever you want to put there. Lots of love. We'll see you next week.
Love, love, love.
Bye.
Bye.